All right, hey, welcome to this quick tutorial on the essence or the psychology of a book. This is a private training just for my writers, so I'm going to cover this off pretty quickly. The first few might not apply to you too much, but you should be aware of it. There's components to a book, right? There's the cover and the inside, but each of these pieces has a very unique purpose, all right? So I'm going to cover covers first, just real briefly with you here, okay? When you look at a book cover and their title, there's three questions that come up, or three different variables of a book cover. One is it answers a question that's already in the reader's mind. You know, how do I win friends and influence people? And they look at a bookshelf. Oh, how do I win friends and influence people? It answers a question that they already have in their mind, so it instantly pops out from the bookshelf. The second version is a curiosity thing, like there's a cover of Malcolm Gladwell's book, Blink. Blink, one word, white cover. What the heck is that about? It creates curiosity, and we have a natural desire to find out what that is. The third one of my favorites, which is sometimes difficult to do but funny, is double meaning, where you say something either visually with an image or with the words, and it means more than one thing. Like, this is a real book title, Cooking with Pooh, right? It's a Thai cookbook. The woman's name is Pooh. Any other ones, visually speaking, I love, like the book cover Contagious. And it's about ideas that catch on, and the visual is a light bulb that turns into a dandelion. So it's an idea that catches on. It's a brilliant image of the entire concept of the book. Doesn't even need the title. Just the image alone can pull it off. But the title there is Contagious. So the purpose of a book cover is not to explain the whole book, right? It's meant to answer a question, create curiosity, or make a puzzle. And though one of those three things will drive the person to pause and go to one place, the back cover, or two places, the back cover or go inside. That's it. That's the purpose of the cover, period. And of course, the back cover is meant to either continue that intrigue, whether it's answering that question further, creating more curiosity, or keep the puzzle moving in some fashion. So a back cover is meant to basically further explain or further create that intriguing, compelling argument that was on the cover. Okay, now we get to the inside, all right? There's a thing called a table of contents, and this is critical because a table of contents chapter headings must be mini sales letters. They must have a little intrigue saying, whoa, because people go right to the table of contents and what's this book about? They're not going to invest their hours of their life based on a title or even a review. They want to see what's in there. And a table of contents is an outline of what they can expect. What problem can I solve? Can this person help me? Before I invest my time, my valuable time, read this book, sell me. Tell me why I should read this thing. So each chapter title must continue this front and back cover. Either it's going to create more intrigue, more curiosity, or most likely give them some clues as to what they can expect they can use to help them. Whether it's entertaining or solution oriented, the table of contents must give them a reason to take the next step, which is the part we want to talk about today, the introduction or preface, right? These are critical things to understand. An introduction or preface is our sales page, really. It's not meant to give a big expose on the author, talk about the author, hardly at all, actually. The very opening must be a little like headline, shocking, like, well, I'm going to tell you something that you're probably not going to want to hear about. And then it must get to the benefits. If it's a curiosity approach, hey, I'm going to answer the question now. If it's how to win friends and influence people, I'm going to tell you why this works, how this works, and where it's worked. I'm going to basically give you a full sales letter in this introduction and paragraph, because if people read that and it's too boring, too long, or goes into the author's biography too much, don't care. The only thing the reader cares about is what's in it for them. Solve my problem, entertain me, or both, right? Introduction and preface, short, a couple pages long. Get to it. This is why you need to read this book. This is why you should invest your valuable, irreplaceable time into reading the rest of the book. That's it. Very important. Then, of course, the copy. The copy, of course, is the entire book. We go through the stories, the data points, the examples, the bullet points, all that stuff. Entertain, educate, inform, and most importantly, create emotion along the way so that it pulls them through. We'll talk about the actual open loop cliffhanger stuff at the very bottom of this little sheet that I made up. And of course, the conclusion. The conclusion should summarize the big promise. What I promised in the introduction and preface now should be summarized. And if it's a nonfiction book, man, I want to compel that person to actually go and do something, take some action, opt into something. And I've had a great one here in the book I just read. He had a lost chapter, right? This is so brilliant. And this is not the actual copy. I'll show you the book later. But in the conclusion, he says there's one chapter that did not make the published deadline. And it made the most uncommon idea in this whole topic. Go to blah, 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 lost chapter and get it later. And when I went there and did this, the chapter wasn't ready. He got me to opt in, name and email. Very big for nonfiction, even if fiction titles I can work for. Now, the layout, the copy inside our book, must appeal to both left and right brain readers. When you write, when you take the person's interviews and content, keep in mind different types of people will read this book. So yes, stories are our main way to share, communicate, and memorize things. But some people are left brain readers. So we should intersperse data, bullet points, and call out boxes inside the manuscript. This is not part of the writer's function. This is part of the editor's and the layout person's function. But the content of that, if our interviews have revealed a lot of data, then put that in the book and we'll manage it later for how to lay it out. But the most important thing, of course, is going to be stories. Because no matter if you're left or right brain, stories are remembered, shared, and they are the anchor to all the data in the world. You know, I'll use the word pink elephant, for example. If I say the words pink elephant, you're not looking at the letters P-I-N-K. You're thinking pink elephant. Our brain thinks in pictures. So the more colorful you can write the manuscript, the more emotion you can evoke through the words you use, the more analogies you use, the more you color a scene with the weather, with the protagonist's emotion, with what's going on in his life or in his thoughts. The best thing about a book, and this is the reason they're sometimes better than movies, is because we can get into a person's thoughts much more seamlessly while we're also giving them the public expose of the scene. Whether this is the narrator talking about something that's happening and how it relates to the story, or how you relate a story and then back it with the data. It's an old Tony Robbins thing where he said that never tell a story without making a point, and never make a point without telling a story. The story anchors the point. So we got to make sure that everything we write, we're making a point. 7-chapter book, there's 7 points there. There's got to be at least 7 stories. And if there's bullet points inside those chapters, which most likely there will be, there should be shorter stories or examples or case studies to back up those points. It solidifies in the reader's mind that the author is not making this crap up. He's got evidence, experience to back this up. Whether the experience is his or somebody else's, doesn't even matter. Now, the most important thing we put in our books is the famous open loop cliffhangers, right? So I give examples here. We got to make our books page turners. It's easy to do with a fiction book. You know, we can leave the protagonist dangling on a cliff, technically, and not rescue him until the next chapter or 3 chapters later. In a nonfiction book, we got to sometimes make these up and create them. So as you get these stories from our authors, our clients, and if they don't have, a lot of them aren't really good storytellers. We can embellish those a little bit with their permission. So we need to do something like I put here, right? So, for example, I always recall one day I nearly committed suicide and simultaneously got the biggest promotion of my career. How these are related will shock you. More about that a bit later. Later? No, I want to know what happened now. We don't answer. We leave them hanging so it lingers in their mind and pulls them through to read what we have created. Now, of course, you want to close that loop later. So we close a loop. Hey, the suicide I was contemplating was not physical, but career-minded, oriented. This new promotion would either make or break my career. The speed with which this would happen shocked everyone except me. It's not because I'm smarter or I have inside information. The reason I was calm about this speed was because I had one quality nobody else had in the firm. This quality, while useful for rapid advancement, has a dark and dangerous side. I'll reveal that in the next chapter. This is called the soap opera sequence that we use in our emails. We should also be putting in our books. Open a loop up, cliffhanger, answer the cliffhanger, save the hero, open up a new loop right away to pull them through the next chapter. Open, close, open, close. So I hope that makes sense. It makes the book so much more fun to write, and I'm very encouraged and appreciate all the hard work you're doing. Any questions, you know how to get a hold of me, and we look forward to seeing your revised samples if that's a revision. If it's not revision, if this is your first one, then go for it. Use this formula of what I described in the video, and ping me for any questions and feedback. It's going to be a lot of fun. Thanks.